Have you ever looked in the mirror after a visit to the salon and wondered, did I just pay to look older? It's a quiet frustration many women over 60 know all too well. I've been there myself, clinging to hairstyles that once made me feel confident but now seem to weigh me down, making me look tired and older than I feel inside. It's like your hair is working against you instead of for you, and that can be discouraging. But here's the good news. You don't have to settle for hairstyles that age you. There are simple, gentle changes that can bring your natural beauty back to life. No drastic cuts or magic potions required. With a few easy shifts in how you approach your hair, you can brighten your face, lift your features, and feel like yourself again, only better. I'm going to share 5 common hair mistakes that many women over 60 make. Mistakes that might be quietly stealing your glow. And more importantly, I'll show you how to fix them with fresh, modern tips that work with your face and personality. It's about embracing the woman you are now, not chasing a younger version. So, what's the one hair habit you're ready to change today? You deserve to look as vibrant and radiant as you feel. Let's make that happen together. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. Now, let's begin. Mistake number 1. The long hair trap. There's a moment in almost every woman's life, usually standing in front of a bathroom mirror in the soft, honest morning light, when you catch your reflection and pause. You stare for a little longer than usual, tucking a strand of hair behind your ear, maybe giving your head a slight tilt, and you realize your hair is the same as it was years, sometimes even decades, ago. For many women, especially after 65, hair isn't just something that grows from the scalp. It's a living scrapbook, woven with memories, victories, heartache, and hope. You remember being young and how your long hair was your pride. Maybe it was sun-bleached at the ends from family vacations on the lake, or thick with the curls that came alive in summer humidity. In your 20s, your hair felt rebellious, wild, and full of promise. It was the style you clung to through every milestone. Your first real job, your wedding day, late-night feedings and playdates, and every reinvention since. You might even remember your mother or grandmother brushing out your hair at night, telling you to keep it long, it's so beautiful. It's no wonder, then, that long hair becomes such a part of who we are that letting go, or even just changing it, can feel like losing a piece of ourselves. But the truth that sneaks up on us, usually without warning, is that what once felt like a source of freedom and confidence can begin to weigh us down. Long hair, especially after 60, is a trap that nobody warns you about. Nobody tells you that as time moves on, hair changes. It thins, loses its bounce, its natural shine. The years are kind in so many ways, but they're rarely gentle with our hair. For many women, especially those who've always worn it long, it's not about the length itself. It's about what that length represents. Youth, sensuality, identity. Still, somewhere along the line, the style stops working for you. It becomes something you hide behind. You notice it one day, maybe while trying to fix your hair for a lunch date, and suddenly the face in the mirror seems unfamiliar. The hair that used to frame your face so beautifully now drags it down, accentuating every line and shadow. Instead of lifting your features, it lengthens and flattens them, and you find yourself searching for the sparkle that seems just out of reach. And yet, the idea of changing it is terrifying. You think, but I've always had long hair, or I won't look like myself if I cut it. There's a strange kind of comfort in routine, especially when the world around us is always shifting. But comfort zones are funny things. They can keep us safe, sure, but they can also keep us stuck. There's also an emotional betrayal in realizing that something you loved about yourself no longer serves you. It feels unfair, maybe even a little heartbreaking, and it's so easy to blame yourself. But none of this is your fault. It's a rite of passage, one that every woman faces, whether she admits it or not. A friend of mine named Judy, a vibrant woman of 70, told me about the day she decided to let go of her signature waist-length hair. She'd worn it long her entire life, always thick and lustrous, the envy of everyone she knew. But in her late 60s, she noticed it didn't move the way it used to. It seemed heavy, tired, and, her words not mine, limp, like a tired curtain that refused to open. For months, she wrestled with the idea of change, fearing she'd lose a piece of her femininity, or worse, her identity. It wasn't until her granddaughter, a bold teenager with a pixie cut, said, "Grandma, your hair hides your beautiful face," that she listened. Judy booked an appointment, heart pounding, palms sweating, and told her stylist she wanted something different. She didn't go for a radical chop, but instead chose soft layers around her face, keeping some length but adding movement and intention. The result? When she looked in the mirror, Judy cried, not because she mourned the hair she lost, but because she recognized herself again. The shape brought out her cheekbones, lifted her jawline, and made her blue eyes sparkle in a way she hadn't seen in years. She felt lighter, not just physically, but emotionally too. She said it was like opening a window after a long winter. Stories like Judy's are everywhere, but not often told. That's because the long hair trap is as much about emotion as it is about appearance. It's a silent struggle, one wrapped in old advice and nostalgia, rarely talked about openly. But it's real, and it deserves to be named for what it is. A habit we outgrow, a comfort we no longer need, a mask that sometimes hides the best parts of who we've become. So what's the solution? It's not as simple as saying, just cut your hair. Because the answer isn't about following a rule, but about choosing what truly flatters you today. The key is shape, not length. Layers that softly frame the face, movement that brings out your natural bone structure, volume at the crown or around the cheekbones. All these details make a difference. Think of the energy you had in your 30s. The right cut can bring that back, no matter your age. If you're not ready to let go of length, that's perfectly fine. But add intention. Ask your stylist for face framing layers, gentle angles, and a little volume in places where you want to lift. Don't be afraid to experiment. Hair always grows back. And if you're unsure, try the ponytail test. Pull your hair back tight, look at your face in the mirror, and notice how your features come alive. That's the face your haircut should show the world. Lifted, bright, open. Another tip. Pay attention to hair health, not just style. With age, hair loses moisture and can become brittle. Use nourishing shampoos and regular trims, and avoid heavy products that weigh it down further. Sometimes, the smallest change, like parting your hair a little differently, or tucking in one side behind your ear, can have a huge impact. The long hair trap is easy to fall into because it's comfortable. But comfort isn't always the same as confidence. There's real power in making a change, in showing the world, and yourself, that you're still here, still vibrant, still willing to grow and evolve. Age isn't about fading away. It's about stepping into your story with intention and grace. For every woman reading this, remember, hair is not your identity. It's an accessory, a canvas for reinvention, a way to express who you are today, not just who you used to be. If your hair has become a curtain you're hiding behind, maybe it's time to open it up and let the light in. So take a breath, be kind to yourself, and ask, does my hair still serve me, or am I serving my hair? The answer might surprise you. Change is scary, yes. But on the other side of fear is freedom, and maybe even a little bit of that spark you thought you'd lost. Because in the end, long hair isn't what keeps you young. It's energy, movement, and the willingness to embrace every chapter with an open heart. And that, my friend, is more beautiful than any length of hair could ever be. Mistake number 2. Chasing volume with too much poof. If you've ever stood at your bathroom sink, brush in hand, and eyed your reflection with determination, you're not alone. Maybe you remember the glory days of hair, the 1960s and 70s, the wild 80s, even the early 90s, when having big hair wasn't just in fashion, it was a declaration. For many of us, our personal history is tangled up in memories of rollers, teasing combs, Aquanet hairspray, and the feeling that the higher the hair, the closer to fabulous. You might even remember watching your mother or a favorite aunt teasing their hair into a glorious cloud in front of the vanity, leaving the bathroom thick with the scent of hairspray and victory. Back then, volume was power. It was a youth. It was a statement. I am here, and I refuse to fade away. Decades later, that mindset can be hard to shake. It's woven into our idea of what done hair looks like. There's something about that extra poof, that gravity-defying lift, that just feels right. But here's where time plays its little trick. As we get older, our hair changes texture, density, and strength. The tricks that gave us lift and fullness at 25 or 35 starts to betray us after 60. The same techniques that once made our hair bouncy now make it stiff, unnatural, and, worst of all, dated. But because the urge to add volume is so deeply rooted, we keep reaching for those familiar tools. Teasing combs, heavy mousses, and clouds of hairspray, hoping to recapture the magic. It's easy to see why. Volume equals youth, at least in our minds. There's nothing more frustrating than seeing hair fall flat after you've spent half an hour on it, especially if you're meeting friends for brunch or attending a family gathering. It's natural to want to recreate that soft, full halo you used to have. But here's the truth. When we overcompensate, chasing volume with too much poof, we're not creating the youthful look we long for. We're creating a helmet, a style that's frozen in time, resisting movement, and ironically, making us look older. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Many women don't even realize this at first. After all, what's the harm in a little extra hairspray or one more trip with a round brush? But you might notice a few signs. Your hair feels heavy and brittle. It doesn't move when you turn your head. Instead, it sits on top of your scalp like a wig. Worse, instead of highlighting your beautiful features, the added width and height shorten and widen your face. That's not the look we want. Instead of lifting and flattering, too much volume in the wrong places makes our faces look tired, even puffy. Let me tell you about my friend Carol, a retired nurse from Ohio who always prided herself on her perfectly done hair. For decades, she spent every Saturday afternoon in front of her bathroom mirror, setting her hair in giant plastic rollers, teasing the crown, and finishing it all off with a hurricane of hairspray. She was famous for it, her signature look. But as she got older, Carol noticed something unsettling. People stopped complimenting her hair and started saying things like, "You look so put together." She realized this was code for, "Your hair hasn't changed since 1989. Carol's aha moment came during a Zoom call with her granddaughter. She caught a glimpse of herself in the tiny video window and saw not a glamorous grandmother, but a woman whose hair looked heavy, unmoving, and oddly artificial. It was like a helmet, she later admitted, laughing at herself. I couldn't believe I'd been doing the same thing for 30 years. I looked like I was trying too hard. That's the problem with chasing volume using old methods. It can backfire, aging us by making our hair look forced and our features lost beneath the shell of the product. But breaking the habit isn't easy. After all, we're talking about decades of beauty advice and deeply held beliefs about what makes a woman look alive. But here's the exciting part. Modern hair science and styling have changed, and the best volume now comes from lightness and movement, not weight and stiffness. Real volume is about texture, lift in the right places, and hair that moves naturally with you, not against you. The best haircuts for older women are those that create shapes with invisible, gentle layers, not harsh lines and stacks of product. They're soft, touchable, and frame the face rather than fight it. Maybe you're not sure where to start. The next time you're in the salon chair, talk to your stylist about texture instead of height. Ask for layers that add subtle movement, especially around your crown and cheekbones. Say goodbye to the days of endless teasing and consider using lighter, more modern styling products. Texturizing sprays or root lifting mousses that don't weigh your hair down. Even your tools can use an update. That round brush marathon? Swap it for a diffuser attachment on your blow dryer to encourage natural lift at the roots without sacrificing softness. Velcro rollers, just at the crown for a few minutes, can give a gentle boost without creating a stiff, unnatural helmet. And for heaven's sake, go easy on the hairspray. There's nothing wrong with wanting your style to last, but a light mist is all you need. Think of your hair like a favorite scarf, beautiful when it floats, less so when it's starched and rigid. Modern volume isn't about going big, it's about going smart. It's about working with your hair's natural texture and direction, letting light in so your hair looks healthy and alive, not shellacked and stuck. The real magic happens when people stop noticing your hair and start noticing your sparkling eyes and radiant smile. That's when you know your hairstyle is truly working for you. For some women, letting go of the urge to poof up the volume is about more than hair. It's about permission to age with softness and grace. It's realizing you don't have to compete with your younger self, or with the memories of big hair days gone by. There's something deeply empowering about accepting that you've changed, and your hair can, too. The world around us has shifted so much, but the standards for what makes a woman look vibrant and confident are broader than ever. These days, a little bit of messiness, some texture, a touch of imperfection, these are the things that make hair look real and alive. They make you look approachable, engaged, and beautifully yourself. Of course, if you love a bit of drama, there's no need to give it up altogether. It's not about losing volume but gaining softness and shape that moves when you do. Update your styling routine with a modern twist, and you'll find that your hair still has the power to turn heads, just in a new, lighter, more natural way. Carol eventually swapped her roller antes routine for a layered, chin-length cut with gentle waves. She used a little volumizing spray at the roots, then let her hair air dry most days. The compliments came back, but this time, they were about her. "You look so happy," people said. "You look rested." Carol grinned and said, "That's the real me, finally showing up." So the next time you reach for that teasing comb or heavy mousse, pause and ask yourself, am I chasing volume or am I chasing a memory? Because your best hair days aren't behind you, they're just waiting for you to try something new, let go of the helmet, and let your beauty shine through, soft, natural, and wonderfully you. Remember, aging isn't about going bigger or holding on tighter to old habits. It's about choosing the kind of volume that fits the woman you are now, radiant, wise, and more comfortable in your skin than ever before. Mistake number 3. Sticking to the same cut for 30 years. If you've ever looked at an old family photo and smiled at your own younger self, maybe holding a baby, blowing out candles at a birthday, or waving to the camera at some windswept beach, you might notice something funny. Your haircut is the same as the one you see in the mirror today. At first, it feels like a comfort, a sweet continuity across decades of change. But sometimes, what feels like comfort can quietly become a rut, especially when it comes to our hair. For so many women, the relationship we have with our hair is one of the longest and most complicated of our lives. It's there for every season, braided for school pictures, pinned up for proms, wild and loose for summer romances, neat for job interviews, practical when babies arrived and time disappeared. Through it all, we settle into styles that work. We find a cut that flatters our face, that looks good even when we're rushing out the door, and that brings in compliments from friends and family. Maybe it's a shoulder-length bob, a smooth page boy, a classic pixie, or long, straight hair parted the same way for years on end. It's human nature to cling to what works, to stick with the familiar, especially when life itself is so full of surprises and losses. Sometimes, though, we mistake that comfortable cut for something deeper. It's not just hair anymore, it becomes a living memory, an anchor to a chapter of our lives that felt secure or joyful. Maybe your signature look started in the busy chaos of motherhood, when you needed a style you could pull back in a ponytail while making breakfast or dashing to soccer practice. Or maybe it's the look you wore when you landed that dream job when you met your spouse, or when you first felt confident in your skin. But here's a quiet truth that sneaks up on all of us. While our lives, faces, and even hair texture change with the years, the cut we clung to as timeless can start to work against us. What once brought out the best in your features might now drag them down, accentuate lines you'd rather soften, or simply make you look less like the vibrant woman you feel inside. Sometimes, the haircut that once made us feel pulled together now feels flat and lifeless. Its magic faded. Its shape too harsh or heavy for who we are today. It happens slowly, almost without noticing. You go to the same stylist you've trusted for decades, and out of habit, yours and theirs, you say, "The usual, please." They nod and begin, both of you comforted by the routine. Maybe you add bangs now and then or experiment with color, but the basic cut never really changes. You walk out looking like yourself, but maybe a version of yourself from 20 or 30 years ago. There's nothing wrong with loyalty, but sometimes it keeps us from seeing what could be possible. It's a little like wearing the same style of jeans from the 1980s, no matter how many times the world, and your sense of self, has shifted since then. If your favorite jeans zipped up to your ribs and tapered sharply at the ankles, would you still call them timeless? Or would you think maybe it's time for an update? My friend Barbara told me once that she clung to her chin-length bob for almost 40 years. "I wore it through every job interview, every PDA meeting, every major milestone," she said, "and after a while, I just stopped seeing it. It was like wallpaper, there, but invisible." When her daughter convinced her to try something new, Barbara felt a wave of anxiety. "It was silly, but I was afraid people wouldn't recognize me. I was afraid I wouldn't recognize myself." But that's the thing about change. It's never really about the hair. It's about what it represents. Taking a chance, letting go of a version of yourself you've outgrown, and allowing the possibility of something new to come in. Barbara finally sat in her stylist's chair and, for the first time in decades, said, "Do what you think would look best on me now, not what I've always done." The stylist softened the ends, added subtle layers, and shifted the parts slightly. When Barbara looked in the mirror, she couldn't believe the difference. "It was like my whole face lit up," she said, eyes wide with happy disbelief. "I felt 10 years lighter, not just in my appearance, but in my spirit." The lesson is simple, but it can be hard to swallow. Sometimes, we're not attached to a haircut, we're attached to a memory, to a time when we felt sure of ourselves or loved or beautiful. But if we never let go, we miss out on the freshness and vibrancy that comes with reinvention. We don't have to chase trends or do anything drastic. Just a few thoughtful changes can make all the difference. Ask yourself, what is this cut doing for my face today? Is it highlighting my cheekbones, lifting my jawline, drawing attention to my eyes? Or is it just there, out of habit, like that favorite sweater you never wear outside the house anymore? Modernizing your look doesn't mean going edgy or extreme. Sometimes it's as simple as softening a harsh line, shifting your part, or adding gentle movement with a few face-framing layers. It's also about recognizing that your hair texture, thickness, and even color change over time. What worked for you at 40 or 50 might not flatter you at 65 or 75. That's not a loss. It's an invitation to evolve. Try taking a picture of yourself from 10 or 20 years ago and comparing it to today. What's changed? What do you want your hair to say about you now? Are you ready to be seen as the woman you are today? Wiser, bolder, freer? One of the most liberating things you can do is to have an honest conversation with your stylist. Show them a recent photo, tell them how you feel about your current look, and ask for their suggestions. Don't let habit or politeness keep you from discovering something new. You might be surprised at how just a small change, a softer fringe, a little more lift of the crown, a new angle around your jaw, can breathe new life into your whole face. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Sometimes, the hardest part is letting go of the idea that a haircut can preserve our youth. The real secret is that nothing is more youthful than the willingness to change, to adapt, to celebrate the present. The most aging thing about your hairstyle isn't the color or the cut itself. It's how long you've had it. When you match your look with the woman you are now, not who you were in the past, you rediscover the fun and joy of showing up for yourself. So the next time you're sitting in that familiar chair, take a deep breath and try something a little different, even if it's just a subtle tweak. Don't let your stylist hit repeat, because that's what you've always done. Permit yourself to be surprised, delighted, and maybe even a little giddy at the transformation. Because here's the truth. Your life has changed, your face has changed, and that's a beautiful thing. The woman in the mirror deserves a haircut that keeps up with her. One that flatters, lifts, and honors every smile line and story etched into her skin. Updating your hair isn't about erasing the past. It's about stepping forward with confidence, ready for whatever comes next. If you need inspiration, look at women your age who radiate confidence. Notice how their hair has movement, softness, and an effortless quality that comes from embracing the moment instead of clinging to what was. You too can have that. All it takes is a little courage, a good stylist, and the willingness to say, let's try something new. In the end, hair is just hair, but the freedom that comes from breaking out of an old pattern is something you carry with you everywhere. The most beautiful you is the one that reflects your true self, alive, evolving, and open to change at any age. So go ahead. Shake up the routine. You might just fall in love with the woman who's been waiting to show up all along. Mistake number 4. Dyeing it too dark too often. There's a special kind of bravery in facing your first gray hair. It might happen on a lazy Sunday morning when you're brushing your hair by the window and suddenly, there it is, a glint of silver catching the sun, soft and defiant. Maybe you sigh, maybe you smile, maybe you call a daughter or a friend and laugh, it's finally happening. Or maybe, like most of us, you rush to the nearest drugstore and grab that familiar box of dark brown or jet black hair dye, determined to keep time from leaving its signature on your head. For women of our generation, dyeing our hair was never just about color. It was about holding on to the image of ourselves in our 20s and 30s when hair shimmered with a uniform, glossy shade, and every magazine told us youth meant darkness and shine. Maybe you remember the ritual, gloves snapped on, the sharp smell of chemicals in the bathroom, anxiously waiting for those minutes to pass, watching the transformation in the mirror with hope and a little bit of dread. In the beginning, the dark hair looked striking. It framed your face, made your eyes pop, gave you a sense of power. But year after year, touch-up after touch-up, something changed. Maybe you started to notice that, despite your efforts, the color wasn't as flattering as it once was. Maybe the roots showed more quickly, and the battle against silver felt endless. Maybe friends started commenting that you looked tired, or that something about your look seemed off. The truth is, as we age, hair color needs to evolve with us. Our skin tone changes, our features soften, and the same deep, dark shades that once made us look vibrant can begin to have the opposite effect. Dark dye flattens the hair, erases dimension, and instead of brightening our features, it can cast shadows that make us appear washed out or even older. The contrast between jet black hair and gentle wrinkles, between stark roots and softening skin, becomes more pronounced with each year. I remember a woman I met named Evelyns, a lively 72-year-old with a laugh that could fill any room. For decades, Evelyns was known for her long, midnight black hair, a look she'd kept up since her early 40s. Every 3 weeks, she'd dye her roots, determined to keep even a whisper of gray from showing. I thought it made me look younger, she confessed. But then I started to feel like I was fighting a losing battle. One afternoon, Evelyns' granddaughter took a candid photo of her while they were gardening together. Later, when Evelyns saw herself in the snapshot, she was shocked. Her hair, which she'd always thought made her look youthful, now looked like a heavy curtain, draining the light from her face. The color was so dense and uniform that her eyes seemed smaller, her cheeks more sunken. Worse, the relentless covering of grays had started to leave her scalp stained and her hair brittle. Evelyns realized, painfully and suddenly, that she had been clinging to a vision of herself from decades ago. She worried that letting go of her dark hair would mean letting go of her identity, her spark. But one day, she worked up the courage to visit a stylist who specialized in gray blending. Together, they talked honestly about what she wanted, not to look younger, but to look herself, radiant, alive, and true to the woman she'd become. The stylist explained that aging hair shines brightest with a bit of softness, warmth, and dimension. She suggested lightening Evelyns' base color just a shade or two, adding gentle highlights, and weaving in some of Evelyns' natural silver. The result wasn't drastic, but it was transformative. The harsh contrast faded, and suddenly, Evelyns' skin glowed. Her eyes lit up. She looked rested and happy, like someone who had finally stepped out from under a shadow. That's the magic of letting go of too dark, too often. It's not about giving up, it's about letting in the light. Allowing a little warmth and brightness to play through your hair is like turning your face to the sun. It doesn't mean going gray overnight unless that's what you want. It can be as simple as adding caramel or honey highlights, softening your shade by 1 or 2 levels, or blending in some of your natural silver for a modern, sophisticated look. Too often, we fall into the trap of thinking darker means younger. But the opposite is usually true after 60. The most beautiful women I know are those who wear color with confidence, not out of fear, but out of celebration for who they are now. Color should enhance your features, not overshadow them. It should create movement, catch the light, and lift your spirits. Of course, change can be scary. It's natural to worry that lighter shades will make you look washed out, or that embracing some gray will age you overnight. But in reality, a little softness almost always brings out the best in your face. Think about how children's hair shines in the sun with natural highlights, or how healthy adult hair glows with dimension and movement. Flat, uniform color ages everyone, no matter their age. Here's a gentle strategy if you're nervous. Start with subtle highlights or lowlights, especially around the face. These brighten your complexion and soften the transition away from heavy, dark dye. Ask your stylist about baby lights or balayage, techniques that mimic the sun's gentle touch and give your hair natural dimension. If you're ready, talk about gray blending, which allows your natural color to peek through in the most flattering way. And if you choose to stop dyeing altogether, know that you're in good company. Silver and white hair can be breathtakingly elegant. Think of actresses like Helen Mirren or Jamie Lee Curtis, women who radiate confidence and joy in every silver strand. What makes them beautiful isn't the absence of gray, but the abundance of self-acceptance. There's another quieter benefit to letting go of too dark, too often. The pressure lifts. You'll spend less time worrying about roots, less money on dye, and less energy hiding from the person you're becoming. Instead, you'll find space for new routines. Maybe a nourishing hair mask, a little glossing serum, or a chic new cut that flatters your face shape. Sometimes, the world won't notice the change as much as you will. Friends and loved ones may just say, "You look so well rested," or "Did you go on vacation?" They may not realize it's your hair, but you will. You'll see the way your skin glows and your eyes catch the light, and you'll feel more like yourself, just the way you are right now. It's important to remember, it's not the gray that ages you. It's the battle against it, the stress, the hiding, the effort to stay frozen in time. When you release that, you make room for beauty, peace, and a whole new kind of confidence. You're not letting yourself go, you're letting go of what no longer works, so you can welcome what does. So the next time you catch that glint of silver in the mirror, pause before you reach for that box of dye. Ask yourself, is this color serving me, or am I serving it? Talk to your stylist about gentle ways to lighten, brighten, or blend. Be open to the idea that your hair can change just as gracefully as you have. After all, aging isn't about disappearing or giving up. It's about stepping into the light and embracing every chapter. Your hair, soft, dimensional, and uniquely yours, can be the most radiant crown you've ever worn. Mistake number 5. Avoiding bangs out of fear they'll look silly. Of all the mysteries of hair and aging, few provoke as much inner debate as the question of bangs. For so many women, bangs bring up a tangle of emotions, memories, and a pinch of dread. Maybe you remember those crooked, uneven baby bangs your mother trimmed on a kitchen stool in 2nd grade. Or perhaps you survived the era of heavy, blunt bangs ironed flat in the 1980s. Bangs are a battleground, where self-expression and style meet the ghosts of haircuts past. If you're like most women, by the time you reach your 60s or 70s, you've probably sworn off bangs forever. I'm too old for bangs, you tell yourself. They're too much work, too fussy, too risky. What if I look ridiculous? It's easier, safer, even, to sweep, pin, or part your hair, doing anything to avoid revisiting the so-called bang trauma of your youth. But here's a quiet truth that rarely gets spoken. The right bangs, chosen with intention and skill, can be the single most flattering, transformative change a woman makes after 65. This isn't about chasing trends or hiding from your age. It's about highlighting what's uniquely beautiful about your face, right now, in this season of life. Let's start with the myths. Bangs are often thought to be for the young, reserved for little girls, teenagers, or movie stars with stylists on speed dial. The rest of us, we're told, should avoid them after a certain age, lest we look like we're trying too hard, or, worse, like we're clinging to youth. But the truth is, aging changes our faces in ways bangs can help. Foreheads become higher, lines deepen, hairlines shift, and sometimes our features settle in new ways. Instead of fighting these changes with creams and concealers, what if you could soften them with a gentle, graceful frame of hair? If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. I think of my friend Linda, a retired school librarian who always wore her hair swept back, her forehead on display, her face open and honest. For years, she avoided bangs out of fear they'd look childish and silly or draw attention to her wrinkles. But as the years passed, she noticed something. No matter how she styled her hair, she felt a little exposed, even vulnerable. She'd catch herself dabbing concealer on her forehead lines every morning, then sighing at the way her face seemed to stretch longer with every birthday. One day, while leafing through old photos, Linda saw a picture of herself at 30, a smiling woman with soft, side-swept bangs, her eyes bright and her whole face softened. She looked approachable, vibrant, and, most importantly, happy. That night, she found herself staring in the mirror, brushing the front of her hair forward, just to see. The change, even temporarily, startled her. Suddenly her features looked more balanced, her eyes drew the attention, and her whole expression seemed lighter. Still, Linda hesitated. The fear of bad bangs is real. The memory of those helmet-like, too blunt, or stick-straight mistakes haunts many women. We worry about commitment, about the time it takes to style bangs, and about what people will say. But the real magic happens when you find a bang that suits your hair type, face shape, and, most importantly, your personality. Here's what stylists know. The problem isn't bangs, it's bad bangs. Heavy, thick, or too short cuts can overpower the face or look unnatural, especially if they don't move with you. But soft, wispy bangs, like a gentle curtain or a feathery, side-swept fringe, can be transformative. They draw attention to your eyes, soften the forehead, and even help balance a high or wide forehead that feels more prominent with age. The right bangs can make your features feel harmonious and alive, without ever looking forced or childish. There's a practical beauty to bangs, too. They cover those 11s between your brows, the lines that seem to deepen with every frown or squint. They can conceal scars, soften wrinkles, and add interest without the need for drastic change or expensive treatments. Even better, the right bang can skip the Botox and give you a little lift, both in spirit and in appearance. Of course, not every stylist gets bangs right. That's why it's important to have an honest conversation, show photos of what you like, and go slowly. A good stylist will know how to cut bangs that blend into your layers, suit your texture, and work with your lifestyle. They'll leave the fringe just long enough to push to the side if you need to, and they'll teach you how to style them with a few quick swipes of a round brush or your fingers. Linda eventually took the plunge, asking for soft, side-swept bangs that blended into her shoulder-length hair. She was nervous at first, convinced she'd made a mistake. But as she looked in the mirror, she realized she felt more like herself than she had in years. Friends said she looked refreshed and rested, and she noticed her eyes sparkled in every photo as if she'd rediscovered a secret joy. Styling her bangs took less than 2 minutes a day, far less time than she'd spent worrying about her forehead lines. For others, curtain bangs, a modern twist where the bangs part gently in the middle and frame the face, are a wonderful option. They're forgiving, easy to grow out, and endlessly flattering for nearly every face shape. And if you're still nervous, try test driving your look by pinning the front of your hair under or to the side for a day or two, just to see how it feels. What's most important is permitting yourself to experiment. Hair grows. Mistakes are temporary, but the delight of seeing yourself in a new light can last for years. Bangs won't make you look like you did at 25, but they can help you feel more open, expressive, and confident at any age. So if you find yourself sighing at the mirror, tempted to hide behind your hair, or tilting your head just to find your best angle, maybe it's time to ask yourself what you're really afraid of. Is it truly about bangs, or is it about taking a risk, letting yourself be seen, and believing you deserve to try something new, no matter what year is on your driver's license? Let go of the old rules, the ones that say bangs are for the young, or that change is something to fear. Embrace the idea that your beautiful face, with all its character and stories, deserves the gentle framing and softness that only the right bang can bring. If you try it and hate it, it'll grow. If you love it, you'll wonder why you waited so long. Remember, the silliest thing isn't trying bangs. It's letting the fear of a hair mishap in 1983 decide how you look today. You're wiser now. You know yourself better. You deserve to look in the mirror and smile at the reflection looking back, not out of nostalgia, but with genuine pride and delight in who you are right now. Because after 65, beauty isn't about erasing the past. It's about celebrating every chapter, every line, every new beginning. And sometimes, all it takes is a little fringe to let your light shine all the brighter. And so here we are, at the end of our journey together. A journey not just through hairstyles, but through the seasons of our own lives. Maybe you recognize yourself in one of these little stories, or maybe you remembered a time when changing your hair meant taking back control or finally letting go. If there's one lesson I hope you carry with you, it's that our beauty isn't defined by rules or routines from the past, but by the courage to be true to who we are today. Perhaps you've spent years playing it safe with your hair, holding on to old habits out of comfort or fear. Maybe you've looked in the mirror and wished for a little more spark, a little more softness, a little more of the woman you feel inside. The truth is, it's never too late to try something new. Whether it's a different cut, a softer color, or even just the decision to step out of an old comfort zone. Your hair should reflect the life and joy you still carry within, not hide it away. So I encourage you, when you're ready, to take that small step. Ask your stylist a new question, bring in a photo that inspires you, or simply trust your instincts again. Let your hair be a celebration of all you've lived, all you've learned, and all the beauty that's still to come. After all, aging isn't the enemy. Boring hair is. Keep shining, keep laughing, and keep showing up as the most vibrant version of yourself.